How I started making art. As you can see, this is a miniature sculpture I made. This is how I started in the art world because I like the mini's carving. This one was destroyed by my dog. So far everything was okay. Seems like I was good on making animals and things. But here I started with the sculpture course and I realized I didn't had what it takes to make human figure sculptures. So I started going to classes. As you can see, my sculptures were very ugly. They didn't look like people or look like very ugly people. So I decided to begin to draw and study human figure. Here you have some of the works I did by myself before I started going to classes. As you can see, the human figures didn't look well, and any other thing was way easier. I didn't have a great ability for shadowing. In reality, graphite has never been my strong point, but before I was even worse. Taking a look into these portraits, you can notice, look at the chin, the exaggerated eyes, and the weak shadowing. Here, this was the first time I tried watercolor, and as you can see it looks very bad because I didn't knew how the technique was handled. So I decided to make the drawing again with colored pencils, and this is the result. I was not good at drawing. This drawing was printed and then was traced. I just painted it. And this other one was a tattoo design, and I did show it to a tattoo artist. This other one too. The second one is a drawing done based on a Wendy Ortiz design. And here is when I started receiving classes for drawing and painting. This is pastel crayons. I used to like a lot Japanese culture, so I decided to make some pieces on pastel crayon. And these ones are a few life drawings. They used to place a still life during the class, and we used to paint it with pastel crayons. This was my first attempt of a very elaborated still life, but it didn't turn out good. Here I decided to try again watercolor, but with a different technique, with watercolor pencils, and as I was not very good yet, it didn't turn out well. This is a Timo Teddy I did for my boyfriend's birthday as we both played League of Legends, but I didn't have enough money to buy the original one. To make it more attractive, I created all of its accessories. Back in 2016, I started second year of drawing and painting in the National Art School, and here my teacher was more focused on me learning human figure, so I started to move forward pretty good. Not perfect, but these drawings are very good. Part of that is because they were traced, and my teacher wanted me to focus on the grayscale. But eventually I was going to learn to draw by myself. But first he needed me to learn the grayscale. These ones are graphite and white pastel crayon. And this is an eye I made with wood and acrylic painting with a lot of help from the same teacher. I think it turned out well, but it's because my teacher helped me a lot. This is an elephant I did on wood. The background is acrylic painting, and the elephant was done with markers. It was traced. Here I had my bunny's face where I tried to start with watercolor, applying the technique on the correct way. And after practicing and investigating, I think it turned out pretty well to be one of the first watercolors I have done. And this was a person with a modelly head, and that's why the hands looked little compared to the rest of the drawing. As well, the photo was in black and white, and I choose the colors I use for the piece. And this is a watercolor of a photography I made from work. Here the problem was that I started with ink, and I saw on the videos they used to start with ink and then after they will apply watercolor, but my ink was not waterproof. So back in 2019 is when I started going to the university. Here you'll see some drawings that were part of my homeworks, as well as some other drawings that I was doing just for fun, like this one. Here, this was for the anatomy course. We were asked to draw a bust. Now, thing with university is that I had some issues because the classes that took the most time out of us were the theoretical classes. So at the end, I ended up drawing less than what I usually do when I don't go to university. So I think I have improved a little. However, I noticed that I was investigating more to do my homeworks, so the actual information was not being delivered to me by my teachers, or because they were like their point was like the abstract part of the paintings. Now this is the first self-portrait I have done. It was done as well for the anatomy class. I think is kind of okay. And here you will start seeing my first few artworks on ink. To be honest with you, I never had the courage to work on ink until I had to do it as a homework in university. I think that's something that actually helped me out from university to find out that I actually had talent for this. And these are just my first few drawings. It's not even like I had practice or anything like that, and they turn out very well. These ones are like the feet from Goodyear, but I wanted to be all in a theme like an X-ray. That's why you see that the wings are just bones. I learned the main structure of the feet as well as the ones for the wings. Now on this one it was going pretty good, but at some point I think it was the nose and the mouth that didn't turn well. So I just decided to cover the whole face. Now this was just part of my notes about art. They wanted me to make it very creative. And this next one, it was made out of a sculpture of a hand, but I wanted to have like a different turn. So I made just like a rabbit hand. Here you have some architectural design for some notes as well. And this is a watercolor that was used for the first semester exhibition. So there it is. And this is the last drawing I made for my anatomy class. I think with this one I learned a lot. I actually seated by my teacher's desk and we made it together, so I got to learn a lot. So here is where I decided that university was not giving me what I needed, neither the classes. They gave me a base, but it seemed like I had to start investigating by myself, and I think I have improved a lot since then. Let's say, by example, this is a series of botanical illustrations I have done for a friend, and I think they turn out pretty well. She actually has them at her house, hanging on the walls, and I'm pretty proud of that, because they're the first pieces that have been done to decorate a place. Now, as I learned to draw with ink, this one was done for Inktober 2019. I think it turned out very well, as well as this one. This one is a bit more abstract, and I'm okay with the result. And this one that is more like a tattoo style, but I wanted to really focus on ink. Now this is where it really marked a change in my style and the technique I use. This is a portrait of a friend's son. It's the first portrait I do in watercolor by myself, and I believe it turned out pretty well. Actually, her parents took the piece and put it at the living room, so it seems to be pretty good. This one is a watercolor where I decided to study layers. It was done for a friend for his birthday. This is just some random Christmas lettering. And these ones are a few pieces I've done this year. For this first one is the first one that I got paid. This is a watercolor study to get to know how to paint glass. And this was just a prompt for a sunny day, but I wanted to be unique, so I made it in black and white. Now this is one of the pieces that I'm most proud of. It was done for an exhibition that it was done to raise funds for a teacher. At the end, due to the situation that we're going through, the exhibition got canceled, so I still have this piece. But that's the reason why I put so much effort and details on it. And this one is just part of my sketchbook. I just got the idea to work on some animal spirits, and here you have what it came through. I think it looks very good after finishing the contrast on the whole piece. This is a portrait. It didn't turn well, but it's fine. I was just trying contrast. And here we start with my 100 heads. I haven't finished that one yet. I'm thinking on uploading some videos about how I do it and the process behind it, because I don't think I can draw like 10 heads every day. This other one is a still life that I made to study contrast as well. And this is another head from for the 100 heads. I don't think the eyes are fine, but still, it's okay. Now you might recognize this one. Is an acrylic painting I made for my first YouTube video, which I think it turned out very well. And on this one, I took the challenge of drawing like cadaver art. I used it as well for a YouTube video. So this is it for today's date. Please ensure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and share with your friends. Oh, and please comment down below, how has it been your journey on art?